Welcome to the notes on solving multi-step inequalities. All right, so first thing I'm going to remind you guys is switch sign of switching order. Remember, with an equation, I can write x equals 1, or I could write 1 equals x. I could flip sides. Equal sign doesn't change. With an inequality, it's a little different. If I have x is greater than -1, and I want to put the 1 over here and the x over here, I can't keep the sign the same. I have to switch the sign. All right, the part I kind of remember is it's still opening up to the same way. It's opening up to x here, still opening up to x here. So if you ever want to flip the order, make sure to switch the signs. So people have been having problems with that. Now, solving inequalities is the same as solving equations, except for one rule and one rule only. And here it is. Let's solve this problem on the left. Okay, I've got -5x is less than or equal to 20. So if I want to solve for x, I would divide each side by -5. Divide by -5. When I do that, all right, the -5's cancel out. So I'll just be left with x. And over here, I'll have -4. Okay. Now, since I divided both sides by a negative, and this is our rule, if you divide or multiply both sides by a negative, the sign must change. So it was a less than or equal to. Now it's going to be greater than or equal to -4. Okay, so that is the one rule. I'll show you how to graph here, and we'll do an interval notation real quick just to review. -4 is right here. All right, it's greater than or equal to. So we're going to use a bracket. All right, it's going to go this way. And we're going to put our arrow. Remember, once we have an arrow, we put an interval notation, read left to right. It starts at a bracket. So here it is, an interval notation bracket, and that bracket's at -4. I put the comma, it goes to infinity, but never actually gets there, so it's -4 infinity. Now let's take a look at this second example. I put them side by side so you can see the difference. Divide each side by 2. So I get x, and then over here I get -4 divided by 2 is -2. Now here's the question. Does the sign change? Think, tick, tick, tick. All right, clock's ticking. No, the answer is no, it doesn't change. Why doesn't it change? Well, what about that negative over there? Well, it's not if we're dividing a negative number. We have to divide both sides by a negative. We're dividing both sides by a +2, so the sign does not change. It was less than or equal. It stays less than or equal to. All right, so let's graph that just to remind ourselves. All right, -2 is right here. All right, it's less than -2. So it includes -2, so it's a bracket, so it goes that way. And then interval notation going left to right. All right, reading left, it goes all the way to -infinity. So parentheses, -infinity, because it never actually gets there. And then it goes to -2. It includes -2, so it's a bracket. One last quick example, a multi-step inequality. It's the same as our equations that we've talked about. Distribute, combine like terms, opposite operations, and then be careful if we have to switch the sign at the end. So here it is. Distribute 7x minus 14 plus x greater than, distribute, all right, -20. All right, and negative times a negative is plus 4x, and that's -12. Now let's look to combine like terms. Okay, let's see here. I got a 7x and an x, so I'm going to call that 8x. I've got a -14, and that's it. So no other terms to combine on that side of the equation. That's greater than. Over here, I've got the -12 right here, or -20, and I got the -12, which I combine, and I have this 4x by itself right here. So I say plus 4x. I'm going to put that first. -20 minus 12 is -32. So no more like terms. Now it's opposite operations to get everything, all the x's on one side. So I want to move the 4x over, so I'm going to subtract 4x here. Subtract 4x. 8x minus 4x is 4x. I still have the -14 greater than. Scroll down here, give myself a little room. -32. I'm going to add the 14 because I don't want that term. I want to get x by itself, so do the opposite. So we're going to get 4x greater than, all right, I'm at -32. I add 14, so it's going to be at +18. All right, -32 plus 14 is +18, or excuse me, -18. And I'm going to divide by 4 now. Do I need to switch the sign? I got a -18 here, but no, I'm not dividing each side by a negative. I'm dividing each side by +4, so the sign doesn't switch. So the answer will be x is greater than -18 over 4, which again reduces to that 2 goes into both of those. So it's actually going to be -9 over 2.